Hello students, I welcome you to the e-classroom. My name is Adile, your geography teacher. Today we'll be discussing geography at the level of year 8, and the topic in question is weather. We'll be looking at 4 objectives under these topics. The first is the definition of weather. We're also going to look at elements of weather. We will be discussing the weather instrument as well as the factors that influence weather. I start with the definition of weather. As you know already, that weather is the condition of the atmosphere. The condition of the atmosphere in the sense that the atmosphere itself has condition, which means that the condition of the atmosphere determines the kind of weather we experience or the kind of weather exhibits by the atmosphere. What is an atmosphere? The atmosphere is made up of what? Gases, or we call it envelope of gases. There are gases surrounding the atmosphere, and these gases have several attributes. They respond to so many factors. So as a result, whatever happens to the atmosphere determines the kind of weather we experience at a given time. And weather, as you know, vary from time to time, minute to minute, hour to hour. Unlike the climate, the weather is for a particular region, for a small area. The climate can cover several places. The climate change from place to place, very short distances. They don't cover large areas. So I stopped that on definition of weather. I want you to go through your note and check that through again. Examples of weather can be, coldness of a place, the warmness, cloudiness, when a place is sunny or rainy. These are examples of what? Of weather. Now I'll take you to weather elements. The element of weather are used to check what happened to the weather at a given time. The element of weather, we have about 6 of them. They all help us to monitor the weather very well. So at any given time, for you to determine the weather of a place, what you need to do is to check the elements. One of the key elements of weather is temperature. The temperature is the hotness or coolness of a place. You understand? So if you check the weather, if you check the temperature of a place via when you check using the necessary instrument, you'll be able to determine whether the place, what the kind of weather they're experiencing through temperature at that moment. Another element is rainfall. Some places experience a lot of rainfall, some very little, some they don't even experience rainfall at all. Another key one is atmospheric pressure. Atmospheric pressure simply means the weight of gases. Like I told you, the atmosphere is made up of gases. The weight of these gases, as they exert themselves on the atmosphere, determine the pressure. Atmosphere and temperature, atmospheric pressure and temperature, they are interrelated. Let me say they are directly proportional. When the temperature is high, you expect the atmospheric pressure to also be high. Another one that we are going to look at is wind. Some conditions can be of a place can be windy, some not. So wind move, and they move horizontally. We have some turbulent wind anyway, but in most cases wind move horizontally, and when they move, they carry something. Sometimes they move with moisture, sometimes they move with dryness. So it depends, and what they bring is either rainfall, or they bring heat, or they bring coldness. We also look at another element of weather, which is relative humidity. As I told you in the previous class when we were doing the school, I made you to realize that wind, relative humidity, has to do with dampness of the atmosphere. Dampness of the atmosphere, which means the amount of humidity in the atmosphere. Could be that the atmosphere contains a lot of moisture at a given time. Sometimes they don't have enough moisture. So it depends on certain variables. So those things determines whether the atmosphere will damp or not. I told you the very, very easy way to check if an atmosphere contain a lot of humidity is when you after washing your clothes, you spread it on the line. The days they get dry very fast, it shows that we don't have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. But the days they take longer time, you know that the atmosphere has very little moisture, so they can accommodate more. So another very crucial one has to do with what you call now the cloud cover. cloud cover the surface of the earth. They help to shield the amount of rainfall. They protect the earth. So some places have a lot of cloud, some don't have. If you go to desert now, they hardly have what? Cloud. And cloud plays a lot of what? Role. They reduce the level of what? Heat coming to the earth. They reduce the level of what? Sunlight coming to the earth. So, but they also play a good role, especially when it has to do with what? Rainfall. You don't get rainfall when you don't have cloud. When you have cloud, you have a lot of what? Rainfall. So that is, I'll stop there with the types of what? The element of weather. Now let's look at the what? The weather instrument. All the elements I've mentioned to you, they have their what? Instruments. The first one, which is what? Temperature. Temperature is measured by using what? Thermometer. In geography, we have our own thermometer. We have specific thermometer, which is called the 6 thermometer. You can sometimes call the maximum and minimum thermometer. Maximum in the sense that they can measure the maximum temperature during the day, and they can measure the minimum temperature at night. So they are usually U-shaped thermometer. We also have the instrument in measuring rainfall. Rainfall is measured using what? Rain gauge. Rain gauge is usually placed in an open field, and the field must be what? Grassland, not concrete, so that water don't rebound into what? Into the gauge. So rain gauge measure the amount of what? Or collect the amount of rainfall, and you need to check all these instruments per day. For pressure, we use barometer, precisely what we call mercury barometer. Sometimes you use the analog barometer. We have different type of barometer. Like I told you, barometer measure atmospheric pressure, and pressure has to do with the weight of gases enveloping the earth. And relative humidity is measured by hygrometer. I will rush through others. Why the last instrument is has to do with wind now. Wind, you have to, because wind has 2 dimensions. It has both speed and what? Direction. The wind speed is measured using what? Anemometer. While the wind direction, you use what? Wind speed. And lastly, we are looking at factors that influence weather and climate. Weather and climate are determined by certain parameters. One of them is latitude. Remember, latitude has to, they are imaginary lines. So the closer a latitude to the equator, the hotter the place becomes. The further away a latitude or a latitude from the equator, the colder the place will become. And the next one I talk about is what? Altitude. Altitude measure the altitude measure is what? It has to do with the height of a place above sea level. The closer a place to the ground, the hotter the place becomes. The higher a place, the colder the place becomes. And the other one is what? Nearness to the sea. Nearness to the sea is another factors. I may not be able to explain because of time. Another one has to do with what? Slope and aspect. I've told you before. And also what? The cloud. These are some of the elements of weather and climate. And before I leave, please note, this is year 8 class weather. I want you to do proper study as you prepare for the next class. I hope to see you next week. Thank you.